YouTube what the deal is. And this is one of them videos, y'all. You're gonna have to watch from start to finish because after I read what happened in court, I'm gonna explain something to y'all. That might sound crazy at first, but trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And you ain't gonna hear nowhere else on YouTube. I promise you. But we got news on what happened with Lil Pap, you know, the NBA affiliate that was arrested for the murder of G Money. He went to court the other day. And shit, I would say he made out. You feel me? But before I get to this article, I'ma explain something to y'all because you know when all this first happened, cause Lil Pap got locked up a year after G Money was dead and gone. And it was presented to the people like they had the man. He was the shooter. They got him. We ready to nail him. But somehow, and I'm going to get to it, but the case broke down tremendously. I'm talking about Legos, building blocks. You know what I mean? But I ain't going to wrap y'all up too much because we try and get the business. A man accused of gunning down Baton Rouge rapper G Money and igniting a violent street beef between two rival rap crews accepted a plea deal from prosecutors Monday afternoon that will allow him to serve 5 years in prison on an accessory charge. DeAndre DeMarcus Fields, 28, nicknamed NBA Lil Pap, was an associate of local rap artist NBA Youngboy. According to second-degree murder indictment filed against Fields 2 years ago, he was the trigger man who shot and killed G Money, 22, whose real name is Garrett Burton, outside the music studio on Dallas Drive in September 2017. Burton performed as the frontman for the TBG, or Top Boy Gorilla label. He, an NBA Youngboy, whose real name is Cantrell Golden, was former friends whose relationship soured after Golden splintered from the group and started his NBA, or Never Broke Again entourage. Burton's fatal shooting was the first volley in a bitter street feud between the rival rap crews, described by East Baton Rouge authorities as gangs, that lasted 7 years and provoked a number of other shootings, prosecutors said Monday. The fallout from those shootings spilled over into Fields' case and made it difficult for the state to prosecute him for Burton's murder, East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney Hillard Moore said in a statement. Donovan Cortez Jefferson, a key witness to the Burton shooting, was indicted in July 2020 on an unrelated second-degree murder. Amid investigations, he shot and killed 41-year-old Derek Jones inside Jim Taylor Drive apartment in November 2019. Jefferson, 34, who is still battling that case, is scheduled to stand trial March 27th. This Jefferson arrest created a serious issue to the successful trial of DeAndre Fields, as the state's eyewitness has been indicted for homicide himself, Moore said in a statement. There was no other direct information outside of some circumstantial evidence that proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Fields was responsible for the homicide. Fields of New Rose agreed to negotiate the deal between prosecutors and his attorney that saw his charge dropped to accessory after the fact for murder, a non-violent offense that exposed him only to 5 years behind bars. He will serve that sentence as he serves a 3-year prison stint for a federal weapons charge he picked up last year while awaiting trial. Under the circumstances, the state was not in any other position but to resolve this matter under these circumstances, Moore said. My office has discussed these issues with Mr. Burton's family prior to accepting this plea. Fields was slated to be tried this week in state court on second-degree murder indictment for which he faced a mandatory life sentence if convicted. According to his new indictment on the accessory charge, he was simply in a car with a group of people, one of whom was the alleged murderer. When Burton was shot and killed, prosecutors alleged Fields assisted the killer afterwards. With this agreement, the sentencing and the charge has been greatly reduced from what it was, 19th Judicial District Court Judge Michael McDonald told him. Fields loudly proclaimed his innocence in a courtroom after Stuart Thuriot, a prosecutor from the East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney's Office, announced the offer. Fields could be overheard telling his attorney, I can't take time for something I ain't do. Later, after discussing the agreement with his family, he told a loved one he was 100% innocent, but couldn't gamble with the risk of being incarcerated for life. Fields remained adamant even as he entered his formal plea. I'm going to agree to the deal, but I want to say this for the record. I'm 100% innocent, he told the judge. That seemed to jeopardize the agreement. Well, if you're not guilty, you're not guilty, McDonald said. It's in my best interest to accept the plea, Fields relented at the urging of his attorney Bob Tucker. Authorities have said that the bad blood between the NBA and TBG crews stemmed from a potential fallout between Burton and Golden. Their long-standing dispute began when Burton released a song containing derogatory lyrics about Garden's sister. Fields' arrest warrant states Garden responded with a social media post, and the bad blood escalated from there, the warrant says. Prosecutors said that back-and-forth shootings that came from Burton's homicide made it harder to prove Fields was the killer. Fields himself was shot in April 2020 by a local rapper, Miyoshi Edwards, aka Lord Yoshi, a known TBG member. Edwards pleaded guilty to multiple counts of attempted murder in July and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. So when I first read the article, I'm like, man, what the hell, 5 years? Something ain't right. Like, how he only get 5 years? You feel me? Like, that don't make sense. This was a first-degree murder charge. At least that's what it was supposed to be. But then I had to think about it, like, damn, what nerve? I got some nerve because shit, I caught the same thing for a similar charge, and I actually pled guilty to first degree, but not accessory after the fact, but conspiracy. So I said, God damn, how I'm gonna sit there and say that man pulled a move or this ain't right when I caught the same type of charge? But it's like that because that's not something you normally see, and the only time you normally see these type of situations is if they didn't have a case. Now, the state case against Lil Pap was hinged on this uncredible witness, similar to my case, locked up for murder. You can't send a convicted murderer to trial to testify. It's not going to work. It ain't going to work, I'm telling you. Because this person has all the motive in the world to lie. Ain't no jury in America going to believe this guy if he's the sole witness on the case or alleged witness on the case. Now, when you're dealing with Lil Pap, what did he do that you don't see too often? Lil Pap stayed silent. That's how you get off on these cases. You feel me? He didn't talk. He stayed silent. He knew he wasn't the shooter, but he never mentioned who the shooter was. That's how he caught 5 years. And he really didn't even have to cop to that because they didn't have a case. They would have just dropped it. Similar to my case. All people got to do is stand firm and let the case break down. You might got to sit for some years or some months. That's how it is. But if the case is weak, it's going to fall. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. You know, you can't build a case and don't have strong evidence. You just can't. Over time, you see what happened. And that's what happened with Lil Pap. And that's how he caught 5 years. He didn't tell. He went in there. He knew he was not guilty. And he stayed silent. Because whatever information they got was bad information. Because they didn't get the shooter. And there wasn't no evidence tying him to the shooter other than this guy, this witness. And that's where we at. That's how he caught 5 years. And I promise you, you won't hear this nowhere else on YouTube unless they watch my video. Because I've been in these situations. A lot of guys haven't. I mean, or they have, but don't know how to, verbalize it. Or didn't really know what was going on at that time. But let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments, man. This can be a message to YSL, or it might be too late. But this could have been a message to YSL on how to get off on major cases. You don't say nothing. You feel me? Regardless of what they got. And I really don't like the fact that Lil Pap took the plea, but like what you heard, basically the same situation I was in. It was worth taking the plea than going to trial, because if you go to trial, you roll them dice, you might lose. You might roll a 2. You know what I mean? And is it really worth it if they try and get you 5 years? If you watch one of my previous videos, I basically explained the same exact thing he just said in that video when I talked about Young Thug and the Gunna in the Alpha plea. I said those exact same words. That's what my lawyer told me, and that's basically what his lawyer told him. Is it worth gambling? It's not, but it kind of is depending on your situation. You know, he tied the Youngboy. He probably ain't really got to worry about going out there working. But if you got to worry about going out there working, it's going to be hell trying to get a job after that. Trust and believe, I'm living proof. And I'm out.
I'm probably gon' die if I lead a clan. You got your turn and you turned your back. You turned around, ain't no turning back. I can't be the boss, ain't no us and that. I'm bringing Bo and I'm bipping with 2 times. I bought the Drake and the kid got a coupon. Make 20,000 a neck on a futon. Sitting out, cause my brother in Jumon. Why you telling people you selling fentanyl? Why you telling feds you selling shit at all? Why you telling cops if you about to get it all? I'ma tell you then I'm already squeezing. You be dreaming about your dreams. I be living out my nightmares. I be missing out in bed. The other night she was right there. I be lurking with my bros. I be crying with my mom. She be praying to the Lord that I don't turn into a monster. You be dreaming about your dreams. I be living out my nightmares. I been missing Kevin Bates.